Today I'm going to show you what it's like to drive the all-new SF90 XX from a first-person point of view. Based on the SF90 Stradale, the XX had one purpose: to be the most extreme road-going Ferrari supercar ever made. At the heart of the XX is a 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8 and 3 electric motors, making a combined output of 1,016 horsepower. It's capable of sprinting from 0 to 60 miles an hour in just 1.9 seconds, thanks to its all-wheel drive, instant torque from the electric motors, and it's got a revised 8-speed DCT with learnings from the Ferrari SP3. This car is all about aerodynamics. We've got a completely revised front end. We also have an S-duct, not unlike the Ferrari Pista. It is such a good looking car. Now coming around to the side, we have upgraded brakes from the SF90, 15.7-inch carbon ceramic rotors in the front, and 15.3-inch carbon ceramic rotors at the back. We've got these triple vents here for extracting turbulent air out of the wheel arches, matching with these awesome vents at the rear. But the real star of the show is this massive rear wing. For the first time since the Ferrari F40 and F50, we have a stationary wing on a road-going Ferrari. It produces a total of 1,168 pounds of downforce, up significantly from the 860 in the normal SF90. And man, the aero is obviously super efficient, but it just looks so darn cool. Hopping inside of the SF90 XX, and it's very familiar to the SF90 with some really cool differences. We have these bespoke bucket seats that look like they're one piece and can't tilt, but they actually have this piece of fabric right here, which allows them to creatively tilt back and forth to be more comfortable. Now we have carbon fiber door cards that look absolutely awesome. We have the triple vents here that match the exterior. And these paddles for the 8-speed DCT have some of the best actuation in the world. On the inside now, to fire it up, we click the engine start-stop button right here. Now we've got the digital Manatino dial here where we can switch between wet mode, sport mode, race mode, CT off, and full ESC off. Digital instrument cluster looks absolutely awesome. We also have a passenger display over to the side. Down in the center area here, we have the controls to put it into reverse, manual, automatic. It kind of reminds me of a gated manual transmission. We have this floating bridge here with a cup holder, although I don't know how useful that is. There's not a ton of storage in here. Look at this. We've got this little carbon fiber shelf right here and these small little flaps right here, but there isn't even a glove box in this car because it is all about performance. All right, guys, first time behind the wheel of the SF90 XX thanks to Shmee150, and we're on the right side of the car on the left side of the road. The car is in its break-in period right now. Tim told me that it needs to reach 1,000 kilometers, which is 600 miles, so we're not going to go absolutely crazy, but we'll give it a little bit of a gas. Shmee's going to drive the car later on and drive it a little bit more spiritedly and show us kind of what the ownership experience has been like, what it's like to buy one of these, and what he thinks it's like compared to previous Ferraris. When I first drove the SF90, I liked it. It was very, very quick, but it just didn't speak to me in the way that other Ferraris do, like 458 Speciale or a Pista. So it's exciting that they've brought that level of communication and involvement to a car with this level of horsepower and an all-wheel drive platform, which is pretty exciting. Limited to only 799 units for the coupe, starts at $890,000 US dollars. This thing is incredibly expensive, very rare, and the used values are well over 50% more than that. So I am very jealous that Shmee got his hands on one of these. But initially, you notice the soundtrack is so much more intense than the SF90. I'm barely in the throttle whatsoever, and you hear all the turbo noise and the shift noise that this thing makes on upshifts is unbelievably crazy. Just listen to this. Like, slaps. The steering is light, but it's super quick. I mean, this thing changes direction sections incredibly quickly, and we're going at like 2/10. Obviously familiarizing myself with the roads, the width of the car, and realizing the fact that this is a 1,000+ horsepower rear-wheel drive car that's worth over $1 million. Oh my God, the sound this makes. This is an unbelievable car you have, Tim.
It's cool, isn't it?
The fact that it's this fun at 30% throttle is pretty crazy.
What you have to remember is how fast it can go if you...
Yeah, of course. No, it's truly unbelievable. The suspension is surprisingly compliant. Tim was talking to me earlier about the fact that some road cars are so harsh, and it's good on the track to have really stiff suspension, but it's not advantageous on the road, and this car kind of proves that you can have a comfortable car and then set the Fiorano lap record at the same time, which is a pretty, pretty unbelievable feat. And you like driving this car in bumpy road mode? I found that kind of interesting.
Normal, you can press the button and try it off. You can give it some beans and go past some people here as well if you want.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's like barely on the gas. Oh, wow. Well, I'll save the first full throttle pulls for you to do in your own car. But man, thank you so much for letting me drive this. I'm excited to see, once you fully get to open it up, what this thing is like. And I definitely want to review one in America, left-hand drive on the correct, in my opinion, side of the road, where I'm a lot more comfortable. All right, Tim behind the wheel of his new SF90 XX.
How's it going? Yeah.
I'm very stoked for you. How has it been owning this? It's an unbelievable machine.
I've been counting. This is the 6th time I've driven it.
Really?
So it's still brand new. We're in electric at the moment, and that's still the weird thing, isn't it, with a car like this? A little electrical, but at the press of a button, we have V8. And it is the most interesting soundtrack because it's so different from the base SF90. You've driven an SF90, right? So you have that comparison in mind. Although I guess you're a long way from home and you're going to be driving it right-hand drive in just a second. So that's going to be a bit of an offset. But the sound and the character of it. Ooh, shift pop.
The shifts are nice.
A little bit of window down. It's completely different. Many more burbles, much more induction sound. It's like a whip, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's clearly, you know, a company like Ferrari, they build, at the moment, about 14,000 cars a year. So they come under certain regulation thresholds. And this is something that we as enthusiasts, we want more noise, we want more sound, but unfortunately the rules are the rules. And that's always been the case through history. If you look back, I mean, think about non-cat, non-adjust F40s being the more special ones, right? Because cats came along later, etc., etc. So with SF90s, or with anything from Ferrari, they have to follow the sound regs. And what they are clearly engineering is character and shift emotion. And you feel that so much when you drive that. And I think that, well, I've certainly spoken with quite a few people at Ferrari, like Rafa Di Simone, the chief test driver, who always told me that this is, you've got to think of it differently to the, well, let's go back to the XX name. It's not so much the XX as you know them from the pure hardcore track cars. It's XX in the ethos and the mindset of it, and bringing that new technology, that more track-focused character of the car, but still very much a road car. And you experience that now, right, as we drive along.
It's really comfortable. Like, surprisingly so for how capable I know this car is.
The seats are pretty comfortable as well, considering there's not much to them. You put something between your legs and it goes straight onto the solid floor.
How would you describe this compared to the Speciales and the Competiciones?
So obviously that's where it sits, right? I think there's a little bit of confusion around what does XX mean, and I'm definitely in that camp. When they said it was called XX, I was a bit like, really? Is that a bit of a stretch? But now that I've driven it so much, I understand it more, and it's interesting because I have genuinely had people say to me, you know, oh, that's one of those, the first road-going XX models, right? You know, it's funny how that marketing obviously works, so that's the whole point behind it. But at the end of the day, it is the new version of like a Competizione or a Pista or a Speciale or whichever one you want to talk about. I'm sure you remember as well when the 599 GTO came out and everyone was like, can that really be a GTO?
Sure.
You know, is that the right name for it? Thinking back to that. So you have to look at XX like the new one of those, the new model in that history of the Versioni Speciales, as Ferrari call them. And from that perspective, goner carpets. Weight hasn't significantly changed because of adding things like the rear wing and those types of parts. I think it's a few tens of kilos down, like less than 100 pounds difference. Where it's changed a lot is in the way it drives. You know, the road, nice countryside lane opens up in front of us. This is where...
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
It
And
gets-
that was just partial throttle.
Oh yeah,
Unbelievable.
We're finishing the run-in. So the running in is interesting. It's not like a Porsche that you can only use 4,000 RPMs until however long, whatever. The rule at this stage is get it warm, and when it's warm you can. And Ferrari are actually pretty good even about track driving and stuff like that. Like, you don't lose your warranty just because you go to a racetrack,
That's nice.
as per the book.
I think
I've
what's
read the
exciting about this is that... Well, that, for one. The SF90 promised to be such an amazing car, and I feel like it lacked the drama of what you expect from a Ferrari. It kind of almost had the GTR approach, where it was so good, but so digitalized and soft in a way. And
But-
this kind of radically overhauls it. It looks better, it sounds better.
I liken it often to the 650S to the 675 from McLaren. 650S was the same. So fast, so easy to drive, but it didn't have enough character. And when the LT came along, that long tail branding, McLaren nailed it. And this is Ferrari's LT moment. You know, the SF90, like you said, I've done 9,500 miles in my SF90, the regular Stradale, so I know the car pretty well. I love it because it mixes, you know, a bit of luxury with immense power. But like you say, a lot of people who buy a 1,000 horsepower supercar verging hypercar want more of this craziness from it, and the SF90 never really did that, and it made the market, I think, a little bit confused about where it sat, and that's why values have gone down. Obviously in the US there was this weird anomaly that values skyrocketed at the beginning, so anybody who bought into one when it was a year or two older paid massively over MSRP, only to then sink it back the other way. And I'm not happy about the loss, you know, on mine as well, for example, but I wouldn't have this without it, so who am I to complain? As we weave through the trees here, four-wheel drive with the electric motors on the front axle. I love the mixture of, you know, 15 miles of full electric driving if you wanted at that end of the spectrum.
Oh, the downshifts are so good.
They fixed that character so well. Stock exhaust, of course you can modify it, put something silly on it, but...
So what was the process of buying this like? Did you ask, hey, have I bought enough Ferraris to qualify? Did they let you know?
No, I got a phone call.
Okay.
I had expressed interest. I have a very good relationship with my salesman at HRO and Ferrari, my local dealer. So I've, you know, obviously talked with them all the time. Like literally this morning we've been talking about an upcoming model. It's just normal par for the course. And I had said, you know, I would really love it if it comes along, etc., etc., etc. And one day, May 2023, it must have been just over 2 years ago, you know, I got the call. I was at the museum when he called me saying, it's time to place your deposit. And it was a hefty deposit. It was £90,000 up front.
Wow.
So I was like, let me see if I can dig down the sofa and find that right now.
How big is your sofa?
Yeah, I know, right? It's hiding a lot of coins down there. And so, yeah, my first special series Ferrari, being lucky to buy it new. Of course, they have a process behind the scenes, right? I think people don't really understand this. There's a lot of talk at the moment about, oh, they make you buy this, they make you buy that. It happens on a dealer level. Some dealers will make a customer do this and do that, but that's the dealer doing it. It's not like the official factory rule. The factory haven't said, you know, when I got my Roma, all the comments were, you've only bought the Roma to get an F80. It's like, what? It's just not, it's not how it works in the slightest. The factory look at you as a customer and your profile. Do you go to the events? Are you actively buying the cars? Are you using the cars? Do they know you from racing or from what else you do? And of course that builds your profile. It's all part of a profile. Why would Ferrari let somebody buy a car like this that trades massively over value, who's never had a Ferrari before and never demonstrated their interest in the brand?
Sure.
Like, this is something that I think gets lost so often at the end of the day. If you're the brand like Ferrari, you want your best clients to get your best cars.
Now, does buying a used Ferrari help? Like,
Yeah, of
if you
course.
buy, so if you buy a
Goes in
used
the profile.
F50,
Oh,
it's obviously
100%.
going to help a ton.
Yeah, it won't get you as many points as ordering new cars, you know, in terms of your profile with them, but it's obviously going to be part of it. As does, like I say, if you go on the cavalcades, or if you take part in the Challenge Series, or like whatever you kept in your fleet, if you take Ferrari finance, if you buy and sell through the dealer network, like all of these different things add up. We've got some countryside lanes now. We need to shake this Mini in front of us though. I love it. It's savagely fast if the road opens up for us as well. Perfect for a over 1,000 horsepower Ferrari. And your first drive of the trip on this side of the road.
Yeah, exactly.
It drives very well down these fairly bumpy lanes.
It does.
Like this could be significantly bumpier, which is what most people do. If you look at the GT Black series or the STO I used to have, or GT3 RS, you know, most of these modern cars, they're set up to be so rough and aggressive, but it actually detracts from driving them as road cars. Like brilliant when you go for a track day.
I noticed that with the GT2 RS. It's so stiff that it kind of bounces off the road.
I love that sound. I love the swooshes, the bangs, this almost pop sound that it makes, which by the way outside is really loud.
Really?
Yeah.
That sounds ridiculous.